Do you design in Figma but feel stuck when it's time to bring your design to life? But this is the only world's shortest Figma to Figma class you can find on YouTube. And in just a few minutes, I'll teach you how to turn your static design into a fully functional website using Figma and without writing a single line of code. So open up your laptop because this is going to be quick. So the first step to this is to prepare your design. I have something simple here that we're going to be using in this class. Then the second thing to watch out for, which is a very vital part if you want to import this design into Figma, is making sure all your layers are grouped in an auto layout. So if you take a look at everything here on the layers panel, you can see the text is grouped in an auto layout here because I can be able to control the behavior of the text just like this. So make sure you wrap all your core layers into an auto layout. The reason for all this is to maintain responsiveness in other breakpoints like your tablet and your mobile phone when we're in Figma. But before I show you the plugin we are going to be utilizing here, you should have something in mind. The reason why I'm saying you should use auto layout is this. In Figma, it is called stack, which basically means auto layout. So if we are using auto layout in Figma, importing it into Figma automatically turns auto layout into a stack. A stack does the same thing as maintaining responsiveness, just like auto layout. Now this is sweet part where I show you guys this plugin called Figma to HTML with Figma. So we'll be using this plugin to export this design into Figma. Let me show you how that works. So I'm going to select the entire design here. You run that plugin. If you can see here, you go to plugin and widget and type Figma to HTML with Figma. Just because I've used it over time, that is why you can easily see here. So I'm going to click it. What this plugin is going to do is this. It's going to copy all these layers individually for us to clipboard it into Figma. So I'm going to hit copy to clipboard. I'll head on to Figma. Then in Figma, I'm going to create a new project. Just like how you copy and paste things, I'm going to select the desktop and hit Ctrl+V. And it's going to paste in all those layers that we copied from Figma. But you notice something, that all the layers are not really showing. So I'm going to show you how you can fix this. The first thing we're going to do is go over to the height and set it to fit content, so it will fit the whole content that we have copied from Figma. You will notice something down here that most of the design elements are missing. So this happens sometimes when it doesn't copy everything from Figma. So this is what we do, because I've actually checked through and I didn't see this card layer. So what we are going to do is this. I'll bring out this card here and make sure everything on that layer is deleted. Head back to Figma. For this card section we didn't see in Figma, I'm going to select it and run that Figma to HTML plugin again. Then hit copy to clipboard, head back to Figma, then select it here and Ctrl and V. I'm going to do a little readjustment here because this is not responsive. So to create anything responsive, in Figma terms you use auto layout, but in Figma terms you use stack. So I'm going to select the overall frame, head on to this layout and click the little plus there. This will automatically turn it into a stack. So it does basically the same thing auto layout does. So on the resizing option here, I'm going to change the width to fit content and also the height to fit content. So this is where we can apply some padding to it. I'm going to add a padding of like 100 pixels to the top, then also for both sides. So the right here, we are going to hit, let's change it to 50, the left 50. I think this is good to roll. So in this case, if we want to change the direction of these cards, we can just go ahead to do this here and everything will be perfectly responsive. So Ctrl X this, paste it inside of the frame. I'm going to reduce this white space here because we don't want that much space. So I'll reduce it to something like this. So I think we are done with everything here. This looks like everything we are seeing on Figma. So let's move on into the next part of adding other breakpoints. So I'm going to select this, add a tablet, and also select this and add that for the mobile phone. If you notice another breakpoint, you can see that our layers has kind of shifted out from the way we set them from the desktop. So this is like an issue because most times, even when we use auto layout in Figma, expecting it to be responsive in Figma, sometimes it doesn't just work that way. Let's look for ways on how we can fix this. So like I said in the first place, to make anything responsive in Figma terms, we have to use auto layout. But since we're in Figma, we use stack in this case. Second thing I'll be looking out for is if the overall desktop is a stack. So selecting it, going to the properties menu, you can see there's a stack open on it. So let's move on into the second frame, which is the frame that's wrapping all the design elements here, which is this MacBook Air 3. On the properties menu, it's not a stack, so I'm going to do that here and turn it into a stack. So don't be confused because we're fixing everything we are seeing here. The first thing we're going to be doing to get things fixed is to first change the direction from horizontal to vertical because we're not dealing in a horizontal plane, right? So things are starting to look better. So to place your nav bar to be sticked to the top of the frame, you don't place it inside of the frame wrapping everything else. You place it outside of the frame. So I'm going to select our nav bar, hit Ctrl X to cut it, select the desktop and hit Ctrl plus V. In this case, your nav bar will appear at the bottom of the frame. This is where we use our arrow key to shift it to the top. Then it will stick to the top of everything. So I'm going to make sure that this is changed to fixed. Then also I will change the width to fit content. As you can see, we have fixed one part. Let's head on into the hero section, which is supposed to be sticked to the top, not in the middle of the frame here. So I'm going to select the overall frame, wrapping this hero section, and use my arrow key to take it to the right position it's supposed to be. After placing this text, let's focus on this mockup that we have here, which is supposed to be at this position. Then we have the other one fixed at this position. So I'm going to select it. This should be the overall frame, then change it from relative to absolute. So the reason why I change it from relative to absolute is this. Let me quickly switch it back to relative. If it was on relative, we won't have the access to place it at the position it was before, simply because everything is now stacked. Because the moment I leave my trackpad, it returns back to another position. I can't simply use my arrow key to place it here, simply because the moment I leave my trackpad, it returns back to the original position it was. So to fix this, we are going to change it from relative to absolute. Changing it to absolute means that we can place it anywhere on the design canvas, so it was somewhere around here. After placing it in the right position, you can see our frame is starting to look scattered again. So let's fix that. So I'm going to head over to the frame, wrapping all the layers inside here. That should be MacBook Air. What I'm going to do is to set the overall height from fixed to fit content, then also apply a padding of like, let's just go with 150 pieces here. So this is looking better. Let's fix the other mockup. So I'm going to select the overall frame and change it from relative to absolute. Then also use my arrow key and shift it to somewhere, I think it was somewhere around here. Since we are done with the hero section, let's move on into the second section. So in this place, we are going to be adding a padding to give a breathing space between the hero section and the second section. Then heading down to padding, I'll be adding a padding of same 150 I added in the hero section. Now, if you take a look at other breakpoints, it looks better than it was before. The only thing we are going to be doing here is to reduce the text size and also reduce the size of this mockup. I'm going to select the first mockup here, hit K on my keyboard to scale it down. So let's just bring it down to something like this. Then shift it up to somewhere around here. I also do the same for the other one, hit K on my keyboard to bring out the scale and scale it down like this. Talking about the text, let's reduce it, but we are not going to be going through the normal way everybody knows and going through the properties menu and changing the size of the text. Let's do things in a more advanced way. So in Framer, there's a thing called rem value. What this rem value is going to do is that it's going to multiply the base size that we set. You might not understand this now. Let me just move on into the practical part. I'm going to select the overall desktop, head to the properties menu and change the base value here from 16. Let's just go with 30. Go back to the tablet and I'll raise this down to 25. Then also for the phone breakpoint, I'm going to change this from 30 and let's just go with 20 here. After setting their respective base value, mind you, you can select any base value of your choice, but I advise to go with this one I just selected. Now this is what we are going to do to reduce the size of all these text on other breakpoints. If it's this one I want to reduce the text on other breakpoint, I will just need to simply select this, go back to the properties and change it from pixel to rem. If you notice something on other breakpoints, the text is looking way smaller here, just because this rem value has multiplied the base value of 25 to give a smaller size for this tablet. If you take a look at the text on the phone breakpoint, you will see it's a bit smaller. I'm not going to be making use of these mockups on the mobile breakpoint, so I'll just do away with them. Now taking a look at this mobile breakpoint, let's reduce the size of the text to somewhere around here. You will see that the size of the text here is different from the size on the tablet, and the size on the tablet of this text is different from that of the desktop. We can also do the same for other text and simply going to select the subtext here, go to the properties and change it from pixel to rem, and you will notice everything is looking better. So all you have to do here is just to come back and readjust the text to something like this. So after this, I'm going to be using this method in fixing other parts of our breakpoint. After making sure all other breakpoints are arranged perfectly, let's move on into the sweeper, which is adding animations to our design. I'll be starting with these two mockup here. I want them to be in constant motion when we are previewing this website. So I'm going to be applying a loop effect on it. So I'm going to select it, go back to the properties menu. After stack, you will see effect. I'm going to click the plus and select loop. On the setting of this loop effect, I'm going to change the type to mirror. Going down to the rotation, I'm going to change this 360 to 0 because I don't want it to be in constant 360 rotation. Moving down to the offset, let's add an offset of 20 here. Moving over to the transition, everything here is good to roll. The default is okay to go. But by previewing this, you can now see the constant motion of the loop going up and down. So I'm going to copy this same effect and apply it to the other mockup. So right click here, hit copy and select the other mockup here. Go back to the effect, right click there and paste effect. So by previewing this again, you can now see the two mockups are in motion, which is giving it that vibe that we want. Are you talking about text animation? We can also apply that. So select the text, go over to effect, and let's just go with text effect. So let me go over to the setting. Actually, everything here, the default setting is okay to roll, because if we were to preview this, we can now see how smooth the text comes in into the website. We can also do this for the subtext. So head on, click the subtext, go over to effect, text effect. But on the subtext, we're going to be applying a delay so that we can allow the first one to load before the subtext enters. Here, I'm going to be adding a delay of 1 second. Let me just see how fast or slow this 1 second will be. It's a little bit slow because as I'm talking, the subtext is supposed to have shown, but it's taking more than a second to preview all the text. So I'll head back to that effect. You know what? Let's just change it from this one delay to 0. So let me see how the default will be. It's a little bit better. It's a little bit better just because the text is kind of much. That's why it's taking this much time to load. So you can apply more effect like this to your design. Checking the breakpoint, reducing the viewport will lead us into the mobile screen, and increase it will lead us back to the desktop. So in this way, if I want to publish this website, I can just click the publish button and this site goes live. But my advice is this: if you're thinking about using Figma, instead of exporting from Figma into Figma and trying to resize everything, the breakpoint, making sure that everything realigns, why not design everything in Figma and apply all the effects you want to add, then hit publish. It's just that simple. So if you are looking for ways to learn Figma, I have a very detailed tutorial on my channel that you can check out that will guide you in creating a site from scratch, from a blank canvas. So that is all for this tutorial. If you like this content, smash that like button. Don't forget to comment down below, and see you guys in the next video.